Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the 2022 Genesis G80 all-wheel drive 3.5T Sport Prestige. And this vehicle serves as a stern reminder to the German automakers that Genesis is here to play. This vehicle is very good and slots up very well against that Mercedes AMG E53 we tested earlier on this channel. With a very powerful powertrain under the hood, awesome technology and luxury inside. Should Mercedes and BMW be worried about this Korean automaker? Stay tuned. The short answer is yes. This $72,000 vehicle as equipped is excellent. You already know I'm absolutely enamored with everything Genesis and the Genesis brand, and this G80, well, it is no different, with a few exceptions. But starting under the hood, as its name implies, we get the 3.5 liter turbocharged V6 mounted the correct way, because this is a rear-wheel drive platform, but an all-wheel drive vehicle. In this application, this turbocharged V6 makes 375 horsepower, 391 pound-feet of torque, and this thing will scoot. Estimates are around a 5-second flat 0 to 60. You do get some reinforced stiffening underneath here to show that this really is a performance-tuned vehicle. Close the clamshelled hood and you can take in the bold, brash new design of the Genesis design language. And I absolutely love this black chrome grille. It is a bug catcher that cannot be denied. We have killed and caught many a bug in this grille, and the black chrome just sets off a very nice shine no matter what angle you're looking at it. But I will say, cleaning it is a bit of a pain, but at $72,000, you're saving quite a bit over the Mercedes AMG E53 we tested earlier on the channel. You just pay to have it detailed a few times. Some other hallmarks of the Genesis brand outside of this big, bold grille are the two lines. This is a design element that is pervasive throughout the entire Genesis lineup. Here in the headlights, around on the side, and back in the taillights. You see, you've got some DRLs that even have a unique design pattern mimicking this same grille, even in the running lights. So that is just a very cool attention to detail here in this Genesis. I will note just the amount of geometry that has to go into all of these molding and curving lines up here in this grille. There's a lot going on visually up here on the front, and you even have air curtains allowing air to get around the front of the vehicle. So all of this, while some of it is blocked off, most of it is actually functional. Moving back up to the front, the two lines of the headlights continue down the side here with these fake vents on the side with your turn signals built in right there. Very nice and elegant continuation of that two-line design that will continue on when we get back here to the back. I already mentioned you've got black chrome around all the windows and on the door handles. I will say this black chrome really takes a lot of extra polishing to keep clean, and on these door handles does leave a little bit of residue anytime you touch it with your oily hands. Just something to note if you are a clean freak and perfectionist. This black chrome does show a little bit more than other chromes would, and I think it looks amazing when it's actually clean, but when it's not, it leaves a little to be desired. On this performance model, we have 20-inch performance wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. These are excellent tires, among the best, if not the best in the industry. And with the all-wheel drive of this unit and the four-wheel steering, which we'll get to in just a little bit, this really is a very capable performance vehicle despite its large size. Finally, moving back to the back and the rear quarter panels, you get this sloping rear window and short rear deck lid, but a massive trunk that we'll talk about in a second, giving it a real sportback and hatchback style design back here that really lends to, again, its performance nature. And finally, back here at the back, you get a third brake light up here in the top of the rear window, a power retractable sunshade for keeping those rear occupants cool, and a remote release for the trunk lid right here above the Genesis spelled out on the back. This is a power operated trunk and the hinges will not crush your luggage. Gives you plenty of storage underneath here under that sloping rear window, and it does have a center pass through that you can access very easily from inside, but really good storage space in here. Handled all of my family's luggage for our trip up to a cabin in the woods while we had this vehicle. Does a very good job of swallowing all your stuff, and it does have a power close function. Again, we get the continuation of that two-line design here with your LED taillights, G80 Genesis, and all-wheel drive 3.5T badges back here on the back. Very clean, very nice design, very sporty and athletic, and very good looking in my opinion. Moving down, you get dual exhausts, and this exhaust outlet here, while it is not connected to the exhaust itself, does mimic the shape of the grille or the Genesis logo, so I really like that echoing there. And then you do have some vents back here for airflow to get back out and around the vehicle. And then down here are your LED reverse lights. All around, a very handsome car on the outside. Let's hop in and see how luxurious it is on the inside. Getting into the front seat of the Genesis G80, the step-in height is very good and what you would expect from a full-size sedan. And the cockpit is very well laid out. I will go ahead and push the push button start, and my memory seat goes back into place exactly where I left it. It is a 2-person memory seat there, and everything is automatic in here if you want it to be, but can be tailored just to you. So we do have a fully automatic dual zone climate controls with heated and ventilated front seats. The driver's seat even has a massage, although Genesis calls it a stretching function that really helps keep your body from getting stiff on long rides. These Napa leather seats are black with red trim, and this driver's seat has adjustable bolsters that really hold you in place very nicely. Grab the steering wheel and you get perforated leather here on the 10 and 2 grips, leather wrapped above and below, and it has a nice bit of heft and squish to it, so it is a very satisfying steering wheel to grab. You do get haptic controls here on the front and paddles on the back for controlling the 8-speed transmission on this. And behind the steering wheel, you get Genesis's 3D digital gauge cluster that looks very cool and very nice, but I don't think will really come across on camera. It looks like every little bit of information on the screen is layered on a different panel back behind the screen and really gives it a real-ish look, even though this one is a little bit pixelated because it is not the highest resolution screen I've ever seen behind the steering wheel. Gives you all the information you would need, analog, speedometer, and tach. That tach does sweep up the opposite direction. A real nice luxury touch here in the G80. Very convenient, very informative here. You do get a full heads-up display that tells you everything from your driver assistance tech to your current and posted speed. Really like that here. You get a very wide infotainment screen here that is touch capable but is a little bit far away, so Genesis gives you this click wheel and touchpad to control it very conveniently without having to stretch, but you do have that option of touching it and controlling it that way, but then you get smudges on it. That's not cool. I really like the carbon fiber that is all around in this one, all the way across the dash here and down the center console. You do have a couple of hidden panels here for 2 cup holders, Qi wireless charging, and a USB-A style plug for your plugged-in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get your parking sensor button here, your camera button here, and drive mode button, dial gear selector here, and we already talked about the trackpad. I really like the knurled aluminum for the volume and tuning. Just a very nice setup here. And then you have a split center console so that your passenger can get in without having to interrupt your comfortable elbow time. Up above me, very nice slick suede headliner and a very dark tinted panoramic roof. That is one of my main complaints of this vehicle. We've taken this both to cabin in the woods and up my very steep driveway, and this creaks and pops anytime there's any bit of twist in this Genesis G80 platform. It's a little concerning driving around the road and hearing your roof pop, and there are just a few creaks up here in the front as well. Outside of that, very solid build quality, a very luxurious cabin. That's enough for the front seats. Let's see what that back seat is like. Getting into the back seat of the G80, I've got plenty of room. Even with this front seat all the way back, I have plenty of leg room back here in the back, plenty of foot room, and a very large footwell down here for me. There is a large center tunnel, so I don't see you taking 3 passengers back here very often. And that comes into play with the fold down center armrest back here. That does have controls for your heated seats and that rear power sunshade. And then you have your 3rd zone climate control on the back of the center console with 2 small vents for rear passengers back here. These Napa leather seats are very comfortable, very cushiony, and the seat back actually hugs me in very nicely. Very comfortable back here and would not be a bad place to spend some time. This is a vehicle you would most likely chauffeur people in, so you do have manual sunshades, or as I like to call them, peasant blockers back here on the back windows. You do have lock and unlock buttons and window controls here on each of the doors. The front passenger seat does have controls to move it forward and out of the way for chauffeuring people around. Very nice function there. And I already mentioned the power sunshade back in the back. You do get a very nice center console here with USB-A ports on the inside. Just a nice extra touch. If you turn around, you actually do have a pass-through that is very easy to get to that trunk back behind you. Very, very nice and comfortable rear seat here in the G80. It's the place to be. From the moment you close the door, it gets very quiet and cocoon-like in here. Very insulated from the world around you, and that suspension does an excellent job of hiding the bumps and imperfections in the road. We took this on a 3-hour road trip up north to a cabin in the woods, and this really was the perfect Grand Tourer vehicle for the curvy mountain roads. It really is a good all-around vehicle that has been a blast to drive. And part of that is due to that 3.5 liter turbocharged V6 under the hood, making nearly 400 horsepower and nearly 400 pound-feet of torque. This thing will move with the best of them, and with those Pilot Sport 4S tires, all-wheel drive, and a really good 8-speed transmission, there isn't much holding you back from some driving fun in this vehicle. And yes, that 4-wheel steering does an excellent job in sporting driving and in day-to-day traffic. The 4-wheel steering will maneuver those rear tires just a little bit. It's hard to see on camera, but it is very noticeable when you're behind the wheel. In day-to-day traffic, driving around, say, your favorite shopping mall or whatever the case may be, at low speeds, they turn in opposite direction from the front wheels, helping you really kind of pivot and maneuver in much tighter situations than the overall footprint of this vehicle would suggest. And at higher highway speeds, they actually turn in conjunction with the front wheels so that you kind of crab walk from lane to lane. Dropping this into sport, or let's let's do Sport Plus drive mode and pushing the pedal, you get the best of that powertrain and it really rockets you down the road. This is a fun vehicle to drive for sure. Sport and Sport Plus hold the engine in that sweet spot of the power band, keeping the automatic transmission from shifting down too early, and will really help you carve corners with the best of them. Again, keeping you in the power band right where you would want it. You do have these pedal shifters that are plastic on the back of the steering wheel if you want to row through the gears yourself. But in Sport and Sport Plus with traction control off, this is a really fun vehicle. Dropping it into custom or comfort ride mode really turns it back into that comfortable Grand Tourer that will help disguise some of the imperfections in the road. Overall, livability of this vehicle is excellent because these Nappa seats are so comfortable. The Nappa leather is very soft. These are heated and ventilated up front, heated only in the rear, and do a good job of letting you know the ventilation works, even on a day that doesn't know if it's hot or cold here in East Texas. The driver's seat does have adjustable side bolsters, so you can really hold yourself in if that is what you like. And there's a nice button down here on the side for the Ergo Motion seat that does some stretching to help keep you from getting stiff on a long car ride. Definitely came in handy for our trip up to the cabin in the woods, but this vehicle is good. I will note that engine noise that you're hearing, yeah, most of that is piped in through the Lexicon sound system. But in a world where most everything, including the Genesis brand, promised to go all electric, having any sort of engine noise whatsoever is actually quite welcome. And then the visibility out of this, very good, and thanks to its maneuverability with that four-wheel steering, you really can put this vehicle just about anywhere you want it. It's very easy to place and to park. You get Hyundai Genesis, Kia's blind spot cameras here in the digital gauge cluster that activate the camera mounted mirror for you to see in your blind spot anytime you put your blinker on. And then the full 360 camera does a really good job helping you park in tight spaces or just see around you when you need extra visibility. U-turns in this are so good that you will actually use less lanes than you would imagine in this vehicle and really helps set you off. Again, with daily livability, the fuel economy in this nearly 400 horsepower vehicle is actually very good and very usable for day-to-day living. At just over 400 miles since I've gotten it, we're tracing in the mid to upper 23 miles per gallon. That is mixed city and highway use. And yes, I am flooring it just a little bit, but this really is a comfortable vehicle to drive, a very fun vehicle to drive, and will have you driving very spirited no matter where you go. So how does this compare to that Mercedes AMG E53 we tested earlier on the channel? Honestly, I'd say it's better. It's a few $1,000s cheaper, actually nearly 10 grand cheaper as spec'd, and nowhere near 10 grand less fun. I have had a smile on my face pretty much ever since I've gotten this car. It is just supremely beautiful to look at and so much fun sitting behind the wheel. The luxury and comfort of it do not disappoint either. The ride quality, while yes, definitely firm to keep you planted as you carve corners down the road, is not harsh. It is a very good Grand Tourer, and that four-wheel steering just blows my mind with the maneuverability of this, both in day-to-day life and in spirited driving. All the way around, I would say this is an absolute bargain over the German brands that have made quite the name for themselves in this premium sedan market. And that Mercedes AMG E53 should keep an eye out for Genesis. they're definitely coming for them. Well, gearheads, there you have it. My time with this 2022 Genesis G80 all-wheel drive 3.5T Sport Prestige. I absolutely love it, which doesn't come as a surprise to you if you followed this channel for any length of time. I really like the Genesis brand and everything they are doing. Yes, this is one that was not perfect all the way around for me, with a creaking roof panel here and a little bit of creaking on the inside that left a little to be desired when it comes to fit and finish. This one just left me wanting a little bit more from a brand that I've come to really admire and respect. And yes, the grille up front and all the black chrome all the way around on this one could be tough to clean, but when it is clean, oh my goodness, it looks spectacular, as does this Siberian ice paint color. And at, as near as makes no difference, $72,000, with a few $1,000 savings over that Mercedes-AMG E53 we tested earlier on this channel, with rear wheel steering, a very powerful engine, and rather fuel efficient at that. This vehicle really is just that good, and should leave Mercedes and other premium automakers worried. If you liked our review of this and want to see a little bit more about this vehicle and what it is like for my family of three, be sure and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a future video, including our family review when it drops later this week. If you want to see more from us before it is uploaded here, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, all the things at GT Garage Talk, or you can just head on over to gtgaragetalk.com, where you'll find links to everything we do, including our award-winning podcast. But as for me, I'm gonna enjoy what little time I have left with this spectacular sports sedan. Till next time, gearheads, bye. The two lines of the headlights continue. The step-in height is very nice for a large sedan of this size. You can't see the top of my head. The roof on this one creaks and rattles when there's any sort of tension on